Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Shelf Review, where today we'll be going over the first 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. Now, as a bit of a preface, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 goes over the Culling Games, and now the Culling Games are literally probably one of my favorite, let's say at least top 5 favorite arcs in all of shonen manga. It is utterly phenomenal. Like, I loved every single bit of it when I read the manga. Now, I will try to leave out manga spoilers for the most part of this. Now, I may reference Modulo a little bit, but that is the sequel series to Jujutsu Kaisen. And so, yeah, there may be a reference to it somewhere throughout here, but yeah. And so, overall, the Culling Games, it is, like I said, one of my favorite arcs in all of shonen manga. I just loved everything about it, and there was just so many phenomenal characters, and I'm really excited to watch more of season 3 because I know eventually my second favorite JJK character of all time, Higurama, will eventually get introduced. And I love Higurama because I want to be a lawyer, and I love how his domain is focused on the courtroom. I believe it's called deadly sentencing. But yeah, it has been a moment since I read the Culling Games arc in the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, so I may be a little bit blurry on some of the details, so apologies if that is so. But yeah, so first episode of JJK Season 3, we see Naoya Zenin, who is blonde-haired. I believe if you know about JJK, you know who Naoya is. So Naoya and the other top Zenin members are learning who will be the next head of the Zenin after the death of the previous head in season 2 of JJK. So with that, they're sitting there, and then eventually kind of the arbiter of who's going to be the next head tells them that none of them are going to be head. Megumi Fushiguro is the next head because he was the son of Toji, and Toji would have been the head if he would have still been alive at the time. So they learn that Megumi is going to be the next head. And with that, Naoya's like, okay, I'm going to go kill Megumi because I want to be the head. I deserve to be the head. Now, Naoya, he is misogynistic and not that good of a person personality-wise. But I love him as an antagonist because I love an antagonist that's arrogant who eventually just gets humbled. I love that about a villain. So yeah, I like Naoya as a villain, not as a person. But yeah, so Naoya ends up going to Tokyo. I believe it's in Tokyo. It's somewhere there. Somewhere in Japan. And he ends up going and looking for Megumi. And then it shifts over to Yuji and Choso. Now, I'm so excited to see Choso again because I love the brotherly relationship that Yuji and Choso have. Because, I mean, I don't know. I just really like Choso. I like the character of Choso. I like his jujutsu and all that. I like his curse technique. But yeah, also one thing I really like about seeing Choso now as of late is because in the most recent chapter of Modulo, we see Yuji actually in action again. We know that he's still alive now. We see him in action, and he uses piercing blood, which is part of which we call Choso's curse technique of blood manipulation. So we see that, and we see that Yuji is still grieving about the death of Nobara Kuwasaki, who was one of the big three. You had Megumi Fushiguro, Yuji Itadori, and Nobara Kuwasaki. But Nobara dies in season 2. And it's a very cool death, but it did hurt because she was a cool character, and had a cool curse technique. But yeah, he's still mourning about her death, and he's mourning about how he killed so many people in Shibuya during the Shibuya incident. But even though he wasn't actually the one who did it, his body did it through Sukuna. But he still blames himself for it because Yuji's a good kid, and he is just taking the blame, even though he didn't actually do anything wrong. So with that, him and Choso decide to go out and kill some curses in the area, and during that, they meet Naoya. And Naoya's like, I know who you are. I know that you are on the list to be executed since Gojo is no longer around to keep you chained, so you're going to get executed. But I'm going to let you live for now, as use you as bait to bring Megumi Fushiguro here, so he's like, I'm going to break your legs. And Choso's like, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that. And then, a moment afterwards, toward the end of episode 1, Yuda Okotsu appears. Now, Yuda Okotsu is my favorite character in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. I think he is, because he kind of is the main character. Though the predominant portion of the manga follows Yuji, Yuda's the protagonist of the first volume, the first couple of chapters. And Yuda is, I believe, I haven't read the last chapters. I've read all the physical manga, at least all the way up to volume 28 so far, and I've read Modulo. But I know that Yuda ends off very well off at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. So he's kind of the one who wins big at the end and all that. But also, I just love how Yuda's cursed tools work. His ring with Rika. I like how it's very unique because, I mean, you don't really see any other characters who have a cursed tool that has a cursed spirit in it. Well, it's a Shikigami. But, yeah, You don't see that elsewhere. I mean, not that I remember, but yeah, you don't really see that. And it's so cool because, I mean, Yuta by himself is a pretty powerful sorcerer, but with Rika, he is insanely overpowered. And Rika's just intimidating, dude. Rika's scary. Also, I have a big connection to Yuta because the two covers that he's predominantly on in the manga are two of my favorite covers of all time, of all manga. So here, you have the cover of Zero. In the background there, you can see Rika, because you have Rika herself here, and you have Yuta, then you have Rika's spirit that she turns into after her death back then. Yeah, peak cover of Volume 0. Then, of the most recent volume in English, you have Volume 28, and you have Yuta the Goat. Honestly, I'm a sucker for anyone who has aura, like sucker for Itachi, Zoro, any of them. So, if a character has aura, I instantly am just like enthralled by them. But look at the aura of Yuta on this cover, and then you have Rika in the background. I love the little distinctions of having Rika in the background, because I mean, I just think it's cool attention to detail. Yeah. So that episode's end with Yuta appearing, and it's looking like him and Yuji are going to face off because Yuji is safe for execution. Yuta is a special grade sorcerer with technically more cursed energy than Satoru Gojo, who is known as being the strongest of the modern era. So, episode ends, then we go on to episode 2. In episode 2, it predominantly focuses on the fights between Choso and Naoya, and the fights between Yuta and Yuji. So, with that, we see a lot of really cool fighting, like the cinematography, the choreography of these fights, and the animation too. The season 3, obviously, of JJK is animated by Mappa, and Mappa, though those workers may be insanely overworked, they make phenomenal animation. I absolutely love the animation of JJK and any of Mappa's works because it's just utterly phenomenal, and it's so eye-catching and breathtaking. Like, there's literally a scene of a lighter, I believe it's in episode 3, no, it's in episode 4, where Tsukumo lights a lighter, and the fire looks insane on that, like, it's insane. But, yeah, so episode 2 starts with fights. We see, I'm going to go over Yuji and Yuta's fight first. So Yuji and Yuta are fighting, and Yuji's honestly keeping up the upper hand a little bit. Like, it's looking like he can do pretty good against Yuta, but Yuta still has that advantage of being a special grade curse user, or Jujutsu sorcerer, and just overall being more powerful than Yuji and having more experience, so he ends up besting him. But Yuji is still able to break Yuta's sword, but eventually Yuta ends up using Rika in the end, and she constrains Yuji, and we just see the pure aura and fear of Rika, but goated. And she restrains Yuji, and Yuta ends up stabbing him and killing Yuji. But he doesn't really... Well, I'll get onto that in a second. But then we have the fight between Choso and Naoya. Now, this is a really cool fight, because I mean, you could just see that goofy scene where Naoya's like slapping Choso in the back, probably everywhere now. But it's really a cool scene, because I just love the arrogance that's spilling out of Naoya in that scene. But yeah, so with that, we have them fighting, and Choso's slowly trying to pick up and learn on what Naoya's curse technique is. And eventually he picks up on it, and he uses this like wave of blood to get his blood onto Naoya. And eventually this ends up working for him. He ends up getting Naoya to stop his technique. I believe he's able to see at least 24 frames per second into the future. I believe that was his curse technique, how it's detailed. I swear, I'm never able to really easily remember how curse techniques work, so they're so in-depth and detailed, like, the specificities are insane. If you want a deep and complex, like, power system, read or watch JJK, because it is there. But, yeah, so that ends up happening. He ends up getting Naoya down to his last leg. He ends up getting his blood on him, causing him to somehow inflict an illness on him. And so Naoya's down for the count, but then Yuta comes out of nowhere, smacks up Choso, and with that, Choso's out for the count. And we see Yuta carrying on to Yuji, and he goes and tells Naoya, go and tell the top brass that Yuji Itadori is dead. So, like, dang, Yuji is dead. But then it ultimately ends up cutting, and we see Yuji in a flashback to where he was an infant, and we see his granddad talking to Yuji's father, Jin, about how he shouldn't be with his mother. And then we see the mother of Yuji Itadori, and she had scars along top of her head. And then we know that it was not Yuji's father, Jin, who had Kenjaku in them. It was actually his mother, and that's how he's related to Choso. Because Choso's father was also, I guess, technically possessed or being controlled by Kenjaku. So, with that, we go on, and Yuji wakes up, and he's talking to Yuta, and he's kind of expressing, and Yuta explains to him how he was promised Gojo a year prior that he would watch over Yuji, and that he wasn't actually out there to kill him, he just had to kill him for a brief moment so the top brass would know that Yuji had been killed, because he had died. So, with that, his execution had been fulfilled, so he's no longer on death row. So that kind of cancels all that out. So, with that, Yuta's like, okay, I'm here to help you. I'm here to make everything right. We're here to free Gojo. And so, with that, Megumi pulls up out of nowhere, and he's kind of calming Yuji about how him killing all the people wasn't his fault. And so they ultimately go group together and go to meet up with Tsukumo and Maki to see Maki because she's been recovering after the Shibuya incident. So they go to meet with them, and they all agree to go to the Star Tomb, which is where Tengen resides. And then we end up going to the Star Tomb. Choso sees a vault, and he's like, man, I will free my brethren who are in there soon. But yeah, with that, they end up entering the Star Tomb, speaking with Tengen, and Tengen describes basically what the rules of the Culling Games are, and then describes some background information of how Kenjaku has been so successful in his current attempt at making, or I guess possessing Tengen, taking his power, and advancing humans to a level above what they currently are at. And he explains how, I believe it was 2 or 3 times prior, Kenjaku had tried to take Tengen's power, but failed because I believe he says that the 6 Eyes, Star Plasma Vessel, and it's either Kenjaku or I think it's Kenjaku, are all intertwined in fate. And that chain of fate was broken 12 years prior to the events of Season 3 by Toji killing the Star Plasma Vessel. Toji, he's probably 3rd on my list of goats. You have Yuta, then you have Higurama, and then you have Toji, because Toji is so cool. But I think that's an opinion that everyone holds, because he pretty much has aura. He's like Might Guy, or he's like Rock Lee, or just like Maki. Maki's also another goat, because she's just really cool. I think when characters don't use the power system of a certain series, they use an ultimate aura, because they're absolutely putting the offensive on people who should be obliterating them, but no, they just have physical prowess and annihilate them sometimes. But yeah, so Toji broke that chain of fate by killing the Star Plasma Vessel, and then when Kenjaku went around that chain of fate, which then created, I guess, a schism for him to acquire the prison realm, and then therefore imprison Gojo. And also, the appearance of Geto allowed Kenjaku to more effectively, I guess, enact his plan, because since Kenjaku is able to take, I guess, assimilate with the curse techniques of the people who he's in, he can now consume Tengen, because Tengen is now closer to a cursed spirit after he wasn't able to consume the Star Plasma Vessel, or assimilate with the Star Plasma Vessel 12 years prior. So Kenjaku is now closer to his goal than ever of assimilating with humanity through Tengen's power and making them all evolve to a level farther beyond. So, well, I don't believe it's necessarily all humanity. It's predominantly just discussed as being all of Japan. But with that, we then have the team split up to go and do different things. We have Maki is going to go to the storehouse at the Zenin clan and acquire the tools, the curse tools, because they're very powerful and they're there. And all the ones that Jujutsu Kaisen have already been raided and taken out. And we have Tsukumo and Choso staying back to defend Tengen, because Tengen required wards if he was ever going to give them that information and help him out. And then we have Megumi, Yuji, and who am I forgetting? Megumi, Yuji, I believe that's it, who actually go out to find the Culling Games. And Yuta. Yuta is still out here. Yeah, Yuta, Megumi, and Yuji, sorry, I had a brain fart there, are all going to find the Culling Games and get everything. And one of the big things with Culling Games is, and what's kind of the predominant plot point throughout, is that one has to get 100 points to add a rule. And at the moment, there is no rule to get out, which is a necessary thing, because the main reason why Megumi is participating in the Culling Games is to free his sister, Tsukumi, I believe that's her name. I believe it's Tsukumi. Tsukumi, that's what I'm going to say. I don't remember exactly how it's pronounced, but I believe that was it. So he needed to free his sister, because his sister's a non-curse user, and she got trapped in this due to her having an illness, being in a hospital in the area. So she got trapped in the Culling Games, and he wants to get her out. They want to get her out too, but they also want to get everyone who's innocent out of the Culling Games. So they need to acquire 100 points, but the way you acquire points in the Culling Game is by killing other participants in the Culling Game. And that obviously creates a conflict of interest within the main cast, because they are going to have to kill people. They don't want to have to kill their own, but they're going to have to kill people. And that is not very appealing to them, because I believe if you do kill curses as well, like higher grade curses, yeah, you do. You get points if you kill curses, but you also get points for killing people. And you get more points for killing people. I don't remember the exact pointage. I believe it's relatively high. I believe it's like almost 20 points to a person. So yeah, they have the conflict of knowing they're now going to have to kill people to get points, which is a cool conflict to see them struggle with a little bit. I mean, it's not much struggle, but it's cool to see them struggle with. But then, yeah, we progress on to the end of episode 3, where we see Takaba. Takaba is a phenomenal character. He's a comedian, and his just wackiness throughout the series is phenomenal. But yeah, that goes over the first 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. And I'm really excited to watch more. I know that I believe in episode 4 or 5 we see the massacre of the Zenin clan, which I cannot wait to see because it's very similar to my goat Itachi Uchiha. Now I know once it comes to that it's not as good because Maki doesn't really have the emotional connection to the people in her clan that Itachi did. So there's less emotion behind it, so it's just simply not as good. But Maki straight sliming out everyone in her clan is still really cool to see. So I cannot wait to watch that. I'm probably gonna wait till episode 6 comes out to watch those 3 because I believe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a review every 4th of the episode. So like just made one over the first 4th. Now I'll make another one over the second 4th probably Friday. So yeah, with that, I reviewed the first 3 episodes of JJK Season 3, and I don't know what will be next for review. It will probably be my review of Hades 2, because I just have a little bit more work until I finish 100%ing it, because I've gotten all the main challenges done and all that. I just gotta get 2 more Chaos Trials, and collect a lot of kudos, get all the decorations maxed out, and all the music purchased, and all that good stuff. I might do all the titles, but the titles are honestly kind of tedious for getting nothing in return, besides a little emblem on your completion screen once you beat them. So, I don't know if I'll do that, but yeah, thank you very much for watching episode 6 of Shelf Review, and see you next time.